Welcome to Capitalize Your Finances, the podcast that's your ultimate guide to mastering personal finances and unlocking the secrets of entrepreneurship. Each week, we dive into the world of personal finance and business development and have fascinating conversations with industry experts, seasoned entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who share their insights, strategies, and stories to help you get ahead in life. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur looking to scale your business or someone just starting out on your financial path, this podcast is your go-to resource for inspiration and actionable insights.
Welcome back to Capitalize Your Finances. As always, I'm your host, Christopher A. Paniotu, certified financial planning professional, the Cap and Capitalize. And on today's episode, honestly, it's going to be one of my favorites we've recorded in a long time. And we are going to start the new year right, because I'm going to be giving you 10 tips to make more money in 2025. But as always, before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, I got to give you the free tip of the week. Learn the value of cash. Now, you're probably like, well, a dollar is a dollar. Not quite. It's not as obvious as it may seem, because there's a balancing act between having too much cash and then having not enough. And we talk about that in capitalizing one's expenses. And I can also tell you, when you are managing your portfolio, there is a balancing act between having too much and too little cash. So one of my OG episodes, I interviewed Dr. Craig Israelson, one of the head professors of finance out of BYU. One of my favorite episodes, by the way. I personally got the most out of it. And he used an analogy when it comes to like using money and investing with a car. So there's the gas, the brake, and the seatbelt. The gas obviously makes the car go. The brake obviously makes it stop. And the seatbelt prevents you from being severely injured if you get in an accident. The gas, traditionally speaking, is a long-term investment, like a stock. Bond, right, is considered like the brake. And then your cash is considered the seatbelt. So it's not an either or, it's an and when it comes to cash within your portfolio. So one last thing on the standpoint of cash that you need to understand is the whole concept, and I've talked about it a lot, but I'm going to say it again because it is immensely valuable. Penny wise, pound foolish. A lot of people, and I'm not saying costs are not important, but they try to penny pinch. So like, oh my gosh, I've saved a little bit here and there. The most wealthy, successful people that I know and you know understand that it takes money to make money, and there's a return on every investment. So in their mind, they're not thinking, okay, how can I pinch a couple dollars together? It's, oh, I pay X. What is my return on X? So learn the value of cash. And now that we've got that free tip out of the way, we are going to get into the 10 tips you need to know if you want to make more money in 2025 and beyond. With the number one being, write out your New Year's resolutions for your money goals with an automatic reminder once a week to keep yourself accountable. So I've mentioned a couple episodes back, at the end of every year, generally December 30th or 31st, I go and I'm alone with my thoughts. It used to be a day, but now that I'm happily married with a child, my wife would kill me if I just ditched her for a whole day, and our beautiful baby girl. So I take a couple hours and I go, okay, what happened this year that was great? What can I improve on? But then most importantly, what can I do to improve myself going forward? And I can tell you, since I started doing this, even before my wife and I met, but especially once we met, our income has grown by 20% a year since 2017 when we first met. So almost 8 years. Now, imagine for a second if there was a way for you to increase your income every year by 20%. Would you like that? I think the answer is obvious. Now, with the automatic reminder every week, because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, new year, new me. And then January 3rd comes around and they've just given up, whether it's your diet, whether it's your money, whether it's your relationship, whatever. They give up because most people are lazy, but you're not. You're better than that. And with the automatic reminder, and I'm talking 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes. I have a 5-minute reminder every Sunday at 8:30. I go into our office at home. The girls are still asleep. And I just read through the list and I go, okay, am I on track to hit those goals? I will tell you right now, there are going to be weeks that are better than other weeks. It's just the nature of life. But by doing this simple task, you keep yourself accountable throughout the entire year to that big goal that you made at the end of 2024 or beginning, in this case, of 2025. And you do that for 4 years in a row, you will thank me. You're probably going to want to kiss me. You're going to be so happy, which again, happily married. Thank you, but no thank you. Number 2, make sure you are contributing to your retirement plan at least up to the match. I have seen this so often, and I don't know what goes through people's minds where they go, yeah, I know there's this match, but there shouldn't be a but with that. If you work for a business and that business provides a company match into your 401k or 403b or 457, depending on what you have, you want to make sure that you are putting in at least up to that match because it's free money. So if it's 50 cents on the dollar up to 5%, or dollar for dollar up to 4%, or 25% on your dollars up to 8%, whatever that up to blank percent is, that's what you have to put in at a minimum, because that is free money that you are leaving on the table. Now, if you run a business and you don't have a retirement plan, it is a wonderful incentive because you love your employees. You want them to do well, to have them have some skin in the game. So when you set up a retirement plan, not only is it a tax benefit for you, but then also you are incentivizing your employees to be invested, like actively invested in their financial future. Now, if you work for a company and you don't have a retirement plan, you are, and we're going to talk about this later on, okay? But you're going to need to beg them to start a 401k to get a match going, because then not only are you making money on top of your money and it's free, you're getting a bonus, but you're not taxed on it, which is fantastic, okay? Number 3 actually ties into kind of what I was alluding to. You need to master the art of the ask. And this works for all of you. I don't care if you are in sales, if you're in admin, if you're in service, you're in construction, you run your own business, whatever it is. You need to master the art of the ask. Now, if you run a business, you need to ask for relationships, not for new business. I talk about this a lot in my book, my new book, Capitalize Your Sales. Had to say it. And I tell you, because a lot of people ask, hey, if you know of anyone that fits this description, please send them my way. Ugh, gross, ew, disgusting. That's never going to happen. But if you ask for the quality relationship similar to what you and whoever it is you're talking to has, you are going to be light years away in making more money in 2025. Now, if you work for someone, learning the art of the ask for a raise or a promotion or a bonus or whatever the case is, or the ability to earn a bonus, whatever you can ask to get to that point where you are making more money. I can tell you right now, when you master the art of the ask and you ask your boss, hey, what do I need to do to be able to earn this? I will do whatever it takes. Please just tell me, what do I need to do? It's a little ballsy, but your boss is going to love you for that. Now, the 4th tip to make more money in 2025, learn the value of prudent investing in the long term. Prudent, one of my favorite words, and it is highly underappreciated in society. There are different types of long-term investments out there, okay? It's not just stocks. There's real estate, there's private equity, there's venture capital, there's lending, there are, if you really want to get creative, limited partnerships or opportunity zones. There's so much out there. One thing that you need to understand is one is not necessarily better or worse than the other. What you need to understand is in order to be the most successful when it comes to everything that you have at your fingertips, you need to be nimble in the mind when it comes to utilizing these long-term investments. And once you understand that, okay, not only within your portfolio, but how everything works financially in the world around you, your net worth is going to catapult. Now, the fifth tip that I'm going to give you before we head on to the commercial break is you need to fill your calendar to the brim as quickly as possible with understanding what provides you the highest return on your time. I have no problem throwing myself under the bus, and I'm going to do so again, okay? Brutally. I wasted so much time early in my career. And I can tell you, if you are early in your career, and you probably know this, just by figuring out what earns you the highest return on your time, you are saving yourself a boatload of wasted effort to more quickly compound your success. I know this is a controversial topic. I've gotten some slack for it. I don't really care. This also works with people in your circle. If you look at certain people you're chatting with, and I'm not saying, is this person making you the most money? That is not what I'm referring to. It's more of a qualitative judgment. Like, the people around me, is this the quality that I want to look back on and say, man, I'm really glad I had like this level of quality of people in my life? And the answer is no. Be nice, right? You don't have to call someone and be like, yeah, I've done this assessment. Like, you kind of just suck and I don't want you in my life. You could do that. That's a great way to burn bridges. Highly recommend you don't do that. But you just simply move away. You move on. That's okay. People grow. And if they don't want to grow, they're going to be left behind. Welcome to the world. So that brings us to the commercial break. I know you're going to need to process what I just told you. If you're a little offended, that's fine. I'm going to keep saying it, so I'm not going to change. So if you are offended, you can go get a tissue and then you come back. We're going to go through the last 5 tips to make more money in 2025. So don't go anywhere. Stick around.
Are you ready to transform the way you approach sales? This episode is sponsored by the second book in the Capitalize series, Capitalize Your Sales, the all-in-one sales framework that saves you from ever struggling again and teaches you how to sell with sincerity, which dives deep into the art and science of driving sustainable growth. Packed with strategies that go beyond surface-level techniques, this book will help you understand what it takes to truly connect with clients, build long-term relationships, and close deals. Whether you're looking to fine-tune your sales craft or break through to the next level, Capitalize Your Sales offers a roadmap to success designed for today's fast-paced business world. Head on over to your favorite bookstore, order today, and start capitalizing your sales immediately. And now, back to the episode.
Welcome back to the show. For those of you that were offended before we went to the commercial break, it's not going to get any better, okay? And for those of you that didn't get offended and you find this very, very entertaining, it's only going to get better for you, okay? Number 6 dives right in and continues where we left off on leveling up your network, because your network is your net worth. So in investing, the common misconception out there is you need to have a diversified portfolio. That is not true. It's not wrong per se. Like, there is truth to it. But if you think about it, the most successful investors out there have a very concentrated group of companies. Because if a company does really, really well, and you've done the analysis on that, you don't need a lot of them to do really, really well. Warren Buffett is like the easiest one to use. Okay, so I'm going to use him as example number 1. In the 1980s, Warren Buffett, through Berkshire Hathaway, his holding company, put 40% of the portfolio at the time into American Express. Now, I don't care if you're worth $100,000 or like $100 billion. 40% of your portfolio, almost half. You have to have balls of a lion to understand that. But if you've done the diligence and the research and analysis, again, it's not guaranteed, but you know the odds of success are that certain to have at least 40% of your portfolio in it. And obviously he was right. Okay. But the point is, you don't need a lot of other opportunities out there. You really, really don't. There was an investor in India, and I'm blanking on his name. He died early in his life. I think he died at like 62 or 63. It's kind of beside the point, but he was a buy and hold investor forever. Like he just didn't believe in selling investments. And one of the investments that he purchased was a company called Titan Industries. And it was like 4% of his portfolio when he bought it when he was in his 30s or whatever the case may be. So when he died and his kids took over the portfolio, they noticed that Titan Industries had gone from 4% of his portfolio, wait for it, to 96%. And not because he bought a tremendous amount more. It's just the company did so remarkably well that it just catapulted every other investment that he had. And then another example I'll give you, and then we'll move on from this and translate it to your network being your net worth. Monish Pabrai, one of my favorite investors, spoken about him a lot on the show. Monish, I'm still trying to get you on, buddy, but that's beside the point. With Monish Pabrai, his first hedge fund, he only had, I think it was like 3 investments. And he earned, like a 30% return over 7 or 8 years, which is, that's insane, annualized. 2 of his companies that he bought basically did nothing. But the one that did do something did a lot. Like it was up 100 times. And so even if you had a portfolio of, let's say, 10 companies and 9 of them suck, like they are impressively bad and they all go to zero, but that one company, 10% of your portfolio, just skyrockets up 10x or 100x or whatever the case may be, that's going to cancel out all of the other duds. Now, how does that work within your network? It's kind of the same thing. Do you need a ton of friends? It helps to have a ton of quality people in your life. Okay. I'm not saying that's not true, but you only need a few. It's the same thing with professionals you work with, whether you run your own business or you work with fellow businesses or centers of influence, right? People that can help you in life, whether it's professionally and or personally, you name it. You only need a few quality ones. And we are in this world right now where all you're doing is getting as many followers as possible. It's the next connection, the next connection, the next connection. It's just, it's most people, their life is just a surface level, pebble just being skipped across the water. There's no profound depth. That's what you need when you need to level up your network. Now, number 7, if you run a business, ask yourself where you need to get better and reinvest into the education to get there. If you don't run a business and work somewhere, ask yourself the same thing and then ask your supervisor, boss, you name it, what there is for you to achieve that position, rank, etc. Okay, I had to read that one verbatim because it was a little bit long. And we talked about that a little bit earlier in the episode before the commercial break. But I will say, and I will keep saying this till I'm blue in the face, the best investment you can make in the world, without a doubt, guaranteed, compliance people, is yourself. Period, no questions asked. Now, if you are, even if you're investing in terms of like a portfolio, okay, this still indirectly relates to investing into yourself due to, right, the compounding of the knowledge in your business or piece of real estate that you own or whatever other sector, because there's no way you're going to be able to master everything out there. It's impossible. But if you're very concentrated in what you know, just a few things that you're going to need to know to catapult you in your career, that is going to bring the most amount of success. We've talked about this in the past, and I get a lot of slack for this. And again, I don't care, but I'm still going to say it. How they're like, man, Chris, you don't like side hustles. I'm like, no, it's not that I don't like them. I just know from the math and the data, most people should not do or get into these side hustles because they haven't maxed out their main hustle. Like if you took that mentality and framework and you were, let's say, a CFO of a Fortune 500 company, and you have to go and report to your board, you know what would happen? You would be fired because what you would say is, hey, our main revenue source, I'm not going to reinvest into that to make more money. I'm going to go and put more money and effort into these businesses over here that we know in the long run won't make us as much money. That's insane, but that's the way the world is, okay? So focus on what can bring in the most bang for your buck and pursue it ruthlessly. Number 8, calculate what, and this is a long one, so buckle up. Calculate what you are actually worth on an hourly basis. If you are worth less than what you think, ask yourself what you need to do to increase your worth. Once you've written down these to-dos, start implementing them immediately. If you know that your worth is greater than some or most, but are trapped in the weeds of life with no time to breathe, write down what items are not worth your time that you can outsource, and then look to hire someone or multiple people to do those tasks so you can earn a higher return on your time. Whew, what a doozy. Honestly, you're going to have to go re-listen to that one because yes, that was very long in the tooth, but it is incredibly, incredibly important. So if you are in the less than category, meaning like you're earning less than, okay, it's not like you're a lesser person, you're earning less than what you think your rate is. It's actually going to be much easier for you than those that are trapped in the weeds and need to learn how to outsource and all that, okay? So, and the reason, let me actually backtrack. The reason why it's that easy, it's legitimately this simple. You write those things down that you need to do to make more money. You go and execute it and you make more, period. It's that simple. Now, if you are in the making more category, the hardest thing that you will have to come to grips with is that for certain things, nobody will be able to do something as good as you. In the case of a business owner, okay, outsourcing certain tasks that you've done forever, it is going to be hard just because, old dog, new tricks. But some of these things, you also have to understand they don't have to be perfect. And once you get over that hump, emotionally, you will be infinitely more equipped to outsource because financially, it's not an issue for you. It's more often than not a mental and emotional thing, okay? And I'm speaking from experience. I mean, my teammate Betty sometimes laughs because she's like, I probably could have done whatever task it is 2 to 3 years ago. But she knows me, and she knows that, for me, it can take a little bit more time for me to just like let that leash go. And I've gotten a lot better at it. So I'm also speaking from the heart and personal experience here. Now, number 9, okay? Number 9. Get used to working before 9 and after 5. Oh, I'm going to get some slack from that. Work-life balance goes out the window. Out the window. I can guarantee you that most successful people, or let me actually rephrase that, the most successful person that you know does not work from 9 to 5, or they don't work only from 9 to 5. Success truly is a nonstop thing. And I want you to get it out of your head. If you are truly trying to make more money in 2025, like actually trying to make more money, not just saying it because it's the popular thing to do or trying to get some views on the gram or look cool in front of your friend, like none of that is true. Okay. You're not going to look cool in front of your friends by simply saying it. You're going to look like a loser if you don't actually live up to what you say. As far as Instagram goes, like who cares if you have more likes? Likes do not translate to more money. Followers do not necessarily translate to more money. Okay? Would you rather be popular or would you rather be financially successful? And answer that honestly. Okay? Because just chasing popularity, that is a sad life. I think actually, as a quick tangent, there was a study that came out that asked like what 18 to 29-year-olds would most like to basically become professionally. And their answer was, I want to become famous. They're like, well, why? Just, I want to be famous. That is a sad, sad life. Okay. So you need to get out of your head that the work-life balance is a thing. Okay. Because if you want this life, that's not going to happen. Okay. You've been falsely sold a fat bag of lies. Now, I'll tell you, not only like just going on top of that, I'm really just, digging the knife into the side here. If you expect to make more money this year, and we're talking by a substantial margin, you cannot do what you did in the previous year. And you also can't do what everyone else is doing. Like you have to be all in, obsessively all in. Again, the balance, bye-bye, get it out of here. Now, I'll also tell you, if you are not willing to put in the obsessive amount of work that it will take to become financially set, like we're not even talking make more money at this point. We're talking to the point where you look and you go, whoa, if I ran a business, I could sell my business for a penny and it wouldn't matter in my life. Or if you work for someone, you go, oh, I technically don't even have to work here anymore. I'm doing it because I like to, or I want to. Like that is true financial freedom and being financially set. If you're not willing to put in this obsessive work, you gotta come to grips with it's not going to happen. Okay. Like, and by the way, that's totally fine. Like, I don't mean to, verbally crucify those of you that are listening in that are like, yeah, I just kind of want to have a normal existence. Okay. I'm not doing that. It's your choice. Life is a choice. But I'll tell you, I don't want to hear you crying to me years later when those that have actually listened to the advice that I'm giving you right now, they're the ones that are making the most money. It's interesting. There's some friends that I know, and they're not mine, but like friends of my family, and they're very open about this. They partied in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. Now in the mid 50s, they're complaining about the wealthy and how they need to pay their fair share. And, let me ask you this, okay? What is your fair share of what someone else has worked for? Ouch. And I don't want you listening in to be like that, because that sucks. Because as you compound your life, you're just blaming everyone else. That sucks. And then no one's going to want to hang around you because you just whine. Okay. Now, the last one, we're going to end on a lighter note because I know that was a little aggressive. I'm sorry. Not really, but I kind of am. I do have a heart, I promise you. Number 10, the final tip on making money in 2025. Fall in love with the process. Fall in love with the process. Regardless of who you are, the process of making more money, and we're talking like substantially more money, it's a very hard path to take. It is a tough, tough road. And, I'm not talking about, like if you're a doctor and you just started making like gobs and gobs of money. Actually, I could even use a doctor, because if you just started making the Boco bucks, you probably have over $500,000 in student loans. And due to interest rates being high, they're probably $7,000 or $8,000 a month that you got to pay. That is not an exaggeration. We actually have met with people and we've seen that, which is just like, it's absolutely insane. But the point is it's really hard. it's really hard to make a lot of money, substantially more, and improve your life financially. And if it was easy, everyone would have it. But clearly that is just not the case, especially in today's economy. Now, I wish that I knew this early on. And I mentioned this actually in my first book, Fall in Love with the Process, Learn to Live with the Proceeds. I can tell you early on in my career, I did not appreciate the process of growing the business. And looking back, I really, really miss some of those days where, yeah, financially it was tough sledding. But with the adrenaline of growing the business and like landing a first client or second or your third client and starting to see your business grow, and then you can actually afford things. I never appreciated that. I never truly appreciated it. Frankly, I never appreciated the whole process of writing my first book. And so when I wrote my second one, I said, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to enjoy the actual writing process because it is a truly enjoyable process. Now, I'm Monday morning quarterbacking because I said, hey, I was very nervous writing my first book or getting out there, starting a business. I'm telling you this because I'm no different than you. If you're trying to make more money and level up in your life, like you're going to feel uncomfortable. It is going to be hard. And you're going to have a lot of people laugh at you. I have people still laugh at me. Some people that are very, very close to me. And I don't care. I used to care because when you don't have any money or business or contacts or hope, you just are going off of your faith that you're going to make it work. That is really, really tough. But I can tell you, being on the other side of it, and there's always room for improvement, but being on the other side, I'm so thankful that God blessed me with the engine that I could continue to keep on chugging and chugging and chugging and make something out of myself. And you can do the exact same thing. So I will leave you with this. What proceeds do you want in your life? And that does it for today's episode of 10 tips to make more money in 2025. I had to whittle this sucker down a lot. I think I had like 30, and I'm like, I am not making this a 3-hour podcast. So those are my top 10. If you want to know what the other ones are, shoot me a DM on Instagram, LinkedIn, X. You can even shoot me an email and ask. And as always, I look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, keep capitalizing. Take care. As always, thank you for joining me today. If you have questions about today's episode or any personal finance questions, please reach out to me at Cap and Capitalize on Instagram, Chris at capitalizeyourfinances.com, or via our website, capitalizepodcast.com. If you want more Capitalize Your Finances content, head on over to capitalizepodcast.com and check out our blog, free resources, book, and online course. As always, I'm your host, Christopher Panayiotou, Certified Financial Planning Professional, the Cap and Capitalize. And until next time, keep capitalizing.
The information provided should not be considered specific tax, legal, or investment advice and is not specific to any individual's personal circumstances. Each taxpayer should seek independent advice from a tax professional based on his or her individual circumstances. These materials are provided for general information and educational purposes based upon publicly available information from sources believed to be reliable. The information in these materials may change at any time and without notice. There is no guarantee that any investment strategy will meet its stated objective. All investments involve risk, including potential loss of principal. Content in this material is for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Examples cited are hypothetical, are for illustrative purposes only. It is important to keep in mind that investments in fixed income products are subject to liquidity, interest rate, financial, inflation risks, and special tax liabilities. Interest may be subject to the alternative minimum tax. Alternative investments may not be suitable for all investors and should be considered as an investment for the risk capital portion of the investor's portfolio. The strategies employed in the management of alternative investments may accelerate the velocity of potential losses. 401k benefits may be subject to change at your employer, the governing pension, or benefit organization's discretion. Diversification strategies do not ensure a profit and cannot protect against losses in a declining market. Christopher Panayiotou is a registered representative with and securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. Capitalize Your Finances, LLC is a separate entity from LPL Financial. Capitalize Your Finances is not registered as a broker-dealer or investment advisor. CRPS conferred by College for Financial Planning. The people and companies mentioned in this podcast are not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial or Capitalize Your Finances.